Hey Gear Seekers, I'm Nick. Back in February, I built my daily driver in the NZXT H1, and when I did that build, I did like a 9900K. I think the GPU was also different, but since then, I've slowly changed the parts out, and I kept it mostly Intel, but I'm going to do the unthinkable and switch this over to Ryzen. So I think we're gonna go with the 3600, so come along with me as we side grade this from the 8700K that's in it now. It's not the 9900K anymore, and we switch over to Ryzen. You ready? Let's do it. As I mentioned already, the CPU in this is different from what it was when I did the initial build, the 9900K. I ended up needing that CPU for something else, and I didn't need it anymore. And I had a spare 8700K, which is the 6-core 12 thread, so I swapped it out to that. But I wanted to build something that uses a bit less power than an 8700K, because we all know how Intel is with their TDPs and the number not really meaning that much. So I decided to go with the Ryzen 3600 because it's a 6-core 12 thread, but it's only a 65-watt CPU, so it should technically run cooler and use less power. And I'm also going to swap the GPU out. We're going to do a complete rebuild. We're going to use the ASRock X570 Phantom GAMING-ITX TB3, the one with Thunderbolt, because I do also use this PC for all the music production on the channel as well. So yeah, I wanted something that had Thunderbolt just in case I decide to go down that route later on. However, I do have like a 12-channel mixer interface, like a really big Presonus one that is really good that I just got replaced, which is quite nice. But yes, I probably won't be upgrading for that for a while, but I do want Thunderbolt 3 also to have a PC that I have access to all the time that has Thunderbolt 3 so I can test stuff out too. So yeah, I think it's time to do a build and a teardown. We have to do both because we need to salvage some parts from this, so let's do it. Alright ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed this little tear-down rebuild. I just wanted to make this quick video because it's usually something that I wouldn't usually film on the channel, especially because it's like not that interesting. I mean, it may be interesting to you, but yeah, I actually wanted to share this little process with you guys because there's a lot of things that we do that we don't necessarily film, and something like this, like I mentioned, is something that I wouldn't usually film. But since you guys have actually been asking us about the H1 recently, I decided that I would actually do it. And also, the reason why I wanted to talk about this case was I was actually looking at buying another one of these, like the white version, but you guys have been telling us as well that stock levels are really low, and I went and I asked around a bit, and it's looking like no one's getting these cases till October now. So yeah, I really want a white one just for like another project, because as much as people like to complain about this case and they have like really mixed reactions and feelings about it, and when we did the original video, well, one of the originals, you can check it out up there, I talked about it actually being okay value, given you're getting a 140mm AIO, which is a weird size in itself. You're getting a 650 watt power supply, you're getting a riser cable, you're getting the case, and basically you're getting everything like a bare bone system except a motherboard and CPU and RAM and all the other stuff. So it is actually okay value, but the price has gone up with this case since the initial release. So I think originally in Australia this launched for 589 Australian dollars, and I think the price at the moment is around 629. So it's gone up a little bit, but I suspect that's to do with all the crazy stuff going on in the world and also availability. So it's kind of like a couple of years ago, if you guys remember, with the whole RAM pricing back in 2017, it was, well, 2017, 2018, it was a similar thing. The prices got jacked up basically because they can. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Now we'll quickly chat about the parts because I didn't really talk about them at the start of the video. I did kind of change my mind with stuff midway through building it. So the motherboard obviously is that ASRock X570 ITX TB3, and like I mentioned in the intro, I wanted it because I want the ability to use Thunderbolt devices, especially we've been accepting like review requests for like companies who want to send us Thunderbolt drives, and I'm like, well, I do want to test more of that stuff. I do want to share more info with you guys with that stuff, and this is a nice system to test with. And this is my daily driver, so when I'm replying to comments or replying to emails and making music and everything that I do on the daily, like Discord, everything, this is the PC I use. My editing PC doesn't get turned on unless I'm editing because to be honest, my editing PC is a Threadripper with dual GPUs. It just completely destroys power, just draws heaps of power, and I'd rather not have that on all day. And the 8700K is a 95 watt CPU that was in here before, and it's a bit more power hungry than that. It's a bit hotter than that. It wasn't delidded. I didn't bother with that chip, but I wanted to go with the 3600 basically because it's cooler. I can make this system run quieter and not worry about thermals too much. And that's the thing with this case as well. A lot of people got twisted about the thermals with this case when we really need to understand that this case is kind of designed for a mid-range PC. With that said, with the GPU I went with, I ended up going with the Gigabyte, what is it, the 2060, just an RTX 2060 Gaming OC. Yeah, I had one spare. I actually upgraded the GPU in Claire's computer, and I pulled the GPU out of her computer and put it in here because it draws less power than what I had in here before and runs a bit cooler. And I don't need heaps of GPU horsepower, but if I do need to do something with a little bit of oomph, it's nice to have a 2060 in a system like this. So yeah, it is pretty nice, and this is actually a case I would recommend. Again, we don't really do sponsored stuff here. I've been using this case since it came out, but it did turn out to actually be a really nice case. And again, if you're looking at buying ITX cases and SFX power supplies and AIOs and stuff, it does actually work out to be a pretty acceptable price with a little bit of that NZXT tax on top because that's standard for them. And as you can see in the build as well, there's no RGB, there's nothing like that. This basically just sits as this monolith on my desk that I turn on every single morning, and its job is to help me do my job other than editing. So yeah, it's a nice PC. I really like it. The 3600 again is also more than capable of music production and everything that I do on a daily basis. Yeah, what else? Did I miss anything? Probably. The RAM. Yeah, okay, well, the RAM is an interesting one actually, because for most people, 16 gigs is kind of like the sweet spot at the moment, but because I do a few memory intensive things like music production, plugins just completely eat RAM. So it's got 32 gigs of RAM rather than having just 16. Otherwise I would have gone with 16, but 32 just to be on the safe side. Basically, it's the exact same configuration as I had before. Well, not the exact same, because that would be a lie, wouldn't it? Because the CPU, the motherboard, and the GPU is different. The Windows drive is exactly the same. Everything other than that is same. I didn't change any configuration software-wise, nothing. It's literally a straight swap. So yeah, that's basically it. I'm done. I wanted to make a nice, easy video today and share some like, it's just kind of like a BTS, to be honest. Like, yeah. All right, ladies and gents, I'll put a PC part picker list in the description down below if you want to know what all of the parts were in depth. There's not actually too much going on with this because it is an H1 at the end of the day. And also, if you like the music you heard here, I make all the music. There is a link to our Patreon down below. It's available over there. Or if it's something that I used from our back catalog from years and years ago, it'll be available on Apple Music and Spotify, but I don't think I used those kind of songs today because I've already edited everything in this video except for this part. Anyway, guys, if you liked the video, hit the like button. If you hated the video, hit the dislike button twice. Once again, thank you so very much for watching. I'm your boy Nick with Gear Seekers. You peak, we seek, and I hope you guys have a nice start to your week. It is Monday for us. We have no back catalogue of content at the moment because we've been busy working on other things and yeah, lifestyle. And a bit of an update on the car situation that I talked about yesterday in this little final word thing I do at the end of every video. I'm getting them to come out tomorrow and replace all 4 tires, and it cost me like a lot of money. But yeah, it's done. We're sorted. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you tomorrow, probably, most likely. Knock on wood. Thanks for watching.